Hello. Okay, hi everyone. Today I'm filming another video, obviously, but today I'm going into another story about an artist, and this is about the other artist in my other video. If you didn't watch it, I'll send the link down below. But yeah, pretty much I said I was going to talk about two artists, but only ended up talking about one because I suck, just because I suck and I couldn't fit two stories in one video. Without further ado, let's get right into this vid. Today we're going to be talking about a man named, or what I thought his name was Yves, but after doing some research and finding out that he was a French artist, his name is actually pronounced Yves Klein, or Yves Klein, you know, like Christmas Eve. Anyways, Yves Klein was born in 1928, April 28th, 1928, there's the date. He was born in Nice, France, whatever, was born there, south of France, beautiful little place. His two parents, Fred Klein and Marie Klein, were both painters. Now this is where I think he got his inspiration to become the man he is today, or was, because he's dead. Yeah, his parents were both painters. His dad was more a figurative, like a figure drawer type guy, painter, and his mom was more of a abstract bitch, you know, she liked that shit, she loved it. Dude was pretty interesting as a kid, obviously, because his parents were painters. They moved to Paris, and that's pretty much where he grew up. That's where he spent a lot of his growth in his life, I guess, his beginning stages. There's not really much I found about him, like when he was a kid and shit, but like I think when he was a teenager, then when he went to college, I have some info about that, you know. That's when he started really becoming the man he is today. Or was, because he's dead. By the time it was 1942, she went to 1946, studied at École Nationale de la Marine Menchar, blah blah. This name is down there, okay? That's the school. And while he was there, he was really interested in literature, jazz, judo. He got really interested in judo. And that's kind of one of his most influential moments of his life. Let's get into it. So after studying and being kind of an artsy type of guy, he started getting involved in spirituality, and just he was a deep individual. And one time, this is where his career is really starting. He was on a beach in France with his friends. He looks up at the sky. He realizes it was completely blue, like an iconic blue. And he hated when birds flew past it because they were holes in the sky. They were messing up the big portrait, the infinite of the blue. And that's when he got inspired. He's like, I'm gonna do monochromatic art. I'm gonna be a badass at it, and I'm gonna do it right. So that's what this guy did. He did it right. Now let's get into his life. So after that little epiphany he had for his starting of his career, he began his career moving to London in the year of 1949. While he was in London, he started really like developing his art skills and really getting involved in his journey, I guess. I guess that's where he really started his spiritual development within the artistic realm of living, because that sounds right. That sounds like some shit that sounds like something. There's a car coming, and there's a car behind me, and I can't turn here. I'm scared. The people behind me are looking at me hardcorely. Oh, we're good. But yeah, after his development in London, he moved to Japan in 1952. Because remember what I said, back in college, he liked judo. He was studying that in some type of way, and I guess he really vibed with that shit, because he moved to Japan just to start his judo learning. He lived there for 15 months, and he got to be a 4th Dan black belt in judo. Be proud of me, because that took a lot of memorization skills right there to memorize that. But yeah, he was a badass. The dude learned the skill in 15 months. He mastered that shit, I guess. He was great. He was a black belt, for God's sake. He was a freaking black belt. One more fact of when he was in Japan. While he was studying judo in Japan, the dude also wrote a book. His book was titled Manifesto of the Monochrome. He was feeling himself while he was in Japan. He was thriving. He was spiritual. Pretty impressive. After his Japanese revolution of his judo, he moved back to Paris where he grew up. And this is where he really started developing his shit. This is where his life starts to get interesting as. And in Paris, that's where he opened up his own judo school. The dude was there for 15 months in Japan, studied in college a little bit, was inspired and he opened up his own shit. And this is also when he started really becoming the artist he was until he died. I said it right that time. He was really inspired by like blank colors, like just one color, right? He liked the idea of like being able to step away from line and object and shape and just do one vast color. He said that was quite inspiring for him. He was a genius. Like this video was titled, he was a genius. He liked to draw things in monochrome. He liked one color. He liked the idea of getting rid of line, object, you know, shape. He liked the idea of vast, open, infinite color. Kind of like the sky, the inspiration he got when he was in the fucking beach with his friend. So this is when he was not really like he was like loving the idea of this monochrome, but he was not satisfied to the point until he invented color. And when I say that, I mean he invented his own color. Yves Klein invented a color, but he didn't just like pull it out of his ass and like, hey, this is it. He met up with like a chemist. They were putting shit together, trying to figure out. It took a while for him to develop it, but he eventually came up with his own formula of blue, and he titled it IKB, International Klein Blue. This is literally his blue. It's pretty iconic, and I'll put a little picture of it right there. And this kind of was the basis around the rest of his works for the rest of his life, besides a few other pieces that involve gold and a few other pieces that involve this pink, this really like vibrant pink. Let me just show you some of his pieces. In 1957, that's when he completed blue monochrome. Bam. 1957, again, he completed a work known as aerostatic sculpture. In 1958, Le Vide. That probably sounds more Spanish than French, so I don't know. If anybody's French here watching this, which I doubt it, just holler at me and call me a piece of shit for butchering your language, because that's what I'm doing. Next piece, Le Saut Le Vide, also known as Leap into the World, in 1960. Quick fact about this one, it was actually developed in a newspaper, and so these are some of the gold pieces I was talking about earlier. Silence is Golden, 1960. Interesting. And Gold Leaf on Panel, 1961. But yeah, that was a lot of his pieces, and as you can see, blue had a really big effect on his life. And with his creations and shit, he was getting really bad criticism, I guess, from traditionalists and stuff, because like this was like when like weird art was becoming popular and people were not ready for it, you know. They were still stuck on their long skirts and formal tradition. But like he was getting popular though, because it was different and creative and cool and amazing and awesome, and he was doing it, and he was an inspiration. He was actually one of the biggest parts of a movement during this era that he was alive, known as the Nouvelle Realisme, something like that. I put it there, it's wrong, but that's the movement he was part of. It was kind of like the American pop art culture, and he was a big part of it. I was just picking my nose, sorry. Never mind, back to the video. Oh my god, there's deer. Look at all these deer. What the hell? What the hell? Okay, well, I just drove past a whole bunch of deer. That happened. My camera's about to die, so I'm gonna wrap this up really quick. Anyways, back to the story. When near the end of his life, he started getting a little more experimental, you know. He started this thing where he started painting canvases with women. Let me explain. He liked the idea of embodying people as paintbrushes to create art. He started getting naked women. They were usually models, and in his iconic color, International Klein Blue, he used that as the paint for the paintbrushes, aka the naked woman, and he told the woman to just create art with their bodies on the blank canvas. He showcased this in live audiences. It was sensational. It was a hit. It was interesting. There was criticism because it was during a time where traditionalists and experimentalists and modernists were all colliding, and it was up and crazy, but it turns out he was a pretty inspirational dude. I am a fan of this guy. His art might not seem like art to some of you people, but like I think he's quite cool because he had this like mindset that no one really else was having at the time, and I think he kind of cultivated what the world was wanting, if that makes sense. I'm sorry. Anyways, we're getting close to the end of his life, and Klein, Mr. Klein, He started talking to this woman in 1957, but he didn't actually get married until the 1960s. And the woman is known as Rotrot Uker. And during their marriage, like they seemed like they were probably like in love, like having the best time of their lives. But this guy was having like heart problems, and that kind of like took over, consumed his career and his marriage. Like he used to visit his art museums, and I guess he was a passionate dude. He was spiritual. Like I'm sure they had amazing sex, but like this started consuming his life to the point where like he couldn't do these things that he wanted to do as much anymore because it hurt. But near the end of his life, he had 3 heart attacks, 2 which were like benign. I don't know if that's the right word, but they were lesser. And the 3rd one actually took his life in 1962. He died at the age of 34, which is young as fuck. And it's sad because he was like really becoming the artist he needed to be to like become an influencer on the world. Honestly, when I was researching, I could not figure out like what the cause of the heart attack was. Some sources say he was experimenting with drugs, and I don't know if that's true because that does not sound right. I don't like I've heard that from like one source. I don't even remember what it was. Another source was telling me how this is quite interesting because this might actually be it. The color, the blue he was working with, International Klein Blue, it was like his own formula that he was making with his chemicals, and I guess his exposure to it might have had an effect on his heart and breathing, and that's how he died. I don't know if that's true because there was no like facts showing how he actually died, because a lot of articles and like biographies that I read just said he died of a heart attack, and I don't know if they know exactly why, if they're trying to hide things he did in the past. I don't know. He might have been doing drugs, he might have died from his color blue, or it might have been a combination of both, or nothing at all of those realms. It might have been genetic for all we know. Now he's kind of appreciated more in French culture and world culture actually, because he was getting criticized at the time for his work, but he eventually grew into the artist he is. Yeah, that's my story on Yves Klein, an amazing French artist that invented his own color, thought he could fly. And yeah, there it is. If you liked it, if you loved it, thanks. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know feedback in the comment section below. But thanks for watching. See you next time.